Hello, my name's Brendan Quigley. I'm the founder of 3 Acre Shopify Agency, and I want to jump in and just really quickly talk about Metafields. There's a lot out there about Metafields. There's a lot you can do with Metafields, but I find that most merchants don't understand what they are and how to build them. Often devs like me will just create a bunch of stuff and say, "Hey, check this box, add this thing here." And makes it really seem like it's a confusing thing when really it's not. Metafields are sort of a recent addition from Shopify, and one of the best parts about Metafields is that they can be used all over the customizer. So if I'm in a product, uh, anything that has text in here, if I were to create a section, let's say, with some text, rich text section, I'm able to connect what they call dynamic content sources, and I'm able to pull from Metafields. So this is perfect. Like, let's say you wanted to do specifications. If I had it's often themes have these little collapsible rows. It's like, oh, I wanna put the specs in here of the product. This is how you would change the row content per product and have it in a metafield. So let's go make a metafield. We'll populate this specs, and you can see how that might work for you. And then once you see how it's done, then you might go, oh, this would be perfect for my ingredient list, or this would be perfect for something else. So the way you want to start is you want to go down to settings. And in settings, almost at the bottom there's something called custom data. And you start to get a sense of kind of how in-depth metafields can be. Almost every aspect of the Shopify backend can get a metafield. So we're going to focus in on products. I've got a bunch of metafields in there already. Some of them were made by me, and some of them were sort of made automatically by apps and things that I've installed on my site. This time around, we're gonna add a definition, and I'm gonna call it specs. And this is just a name is just a title. The namespace and key, if you're using it in the customizer, won't matter to you as much. Namespace and key matters to devs when they want to reference this particular metafield in the code. I often skip the description, but you could add a description if you want to say, if you want to give some guidance to the person who's filling out the metafield. You might want to say that it needs to be length times width times height, or something like that. Then we get down here to this selector here, select type, and this is where it gets really fun. There's all these different types of metafields, and just think of this like structured data. Think of it like a database if you've ever used it, or even simpler, like the kind of information you want to show. So to be honest, most used single line text, you can't go wrong. But sometimes you want to link a product or link a file or do something else. And then as you scroll down, the metafield types kind of get kind of more weird and more weird and more weird. But all that means is that they get more specific, right down to like JSON files and things like that. So for this, we just want to have a single line text. Now, you can't have within a type, there's often options, and you can add validation. These are good if you've got a lot of products and you need to make sure that the data going into the metafield is really specific. For our use case, one value, no validation, that's going to be fine. And we're going to hit save. Once the metafield is created, you can go to a product, and we're going to find our, which product are we on? We're on the mirror. And if you scroll down, there will be a section that shows product metafields, and you can see that our newly made specs field is there. So I'm just going to say this is 100 feet times 50 feet times 10 feet. Oh, there we go. And then I'm going to hit save. So think of this as like some extra data under the spec metafield has been now added to this product. Every product has the spec metafield, but if there's nothing in it, then there's nothing to display. If I go back now to specs in the customizer, you can see the dynamic content source. What I'm going to do, just to make sure that it's there, I'm just going to refresh the page. And if we go down here, we can go to the content source, and I can go dynamic content. And then we want to pull information from the product. And you can see here down at the bottom that our metafield specs is there. And if I click on it, here it adds sort of just an indicator that we're using the spec metafield, but here it's added the text. The other thing that you can do is, because this is the dynamic piece of content, we're able to put text on both sides of this. So you could say the size of this product is, and then once that loads, I have to give it a space. Almost, we'll see the space there. Just remember that whatever I put in here is on the template, and that's going to appear on every product, but whatever's inside the spec is going to change per product. So you want to make sure you keep that in mind. And that's really how simple it is. That's how simple it is to, say, add an ingredient list, or to add some extra specs like this to a product. But as you saw in creating it, there are dozens of places where you could add a metafield, and it's a pretty powerful way to do customizations en masse in your store. That's it. Start making metafields. They're fantastic.